This is called the magical timing chart. Remember when I spoke about the hours and the time in which the seal should be constructed? Like if you wanted to create a seal of Saturn, you need to do it on Saturn's day, aka Saturday, at the time of Saturn. Okay? The time of Saturn, let's see. So you can find these online. They're called planetary time charts, or any ephemeris would do it for you too. What we consider astrological ephemeris, which is a time indication from like when the planet is moving at a certain time. See, the ancients already had knowledge of that. Who the Babylonians were the original astrologers, or Sumerians rather. So let's say 6 a.m. is the time of the sun on Sunday. 6 a.m. is when the sun. By 7 a.m. we're in Venus. By 8 a.m. we're in Mercury's time. So on and so forth. It keeps going downwards. But this is a very consistent chart. It'll keep doing that. So on Sunday it begins with the sun and it ends with Mercury using a 24-hour clock. Okay? So it starts with Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. It's going to go in that order. Now on Monday, the Moon's day, it starts with the Moon at 6 a.m. where the sun started at 6 a.m. Basically the leader begins the day at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is when that planet ruler. So I'll give you an example. Wednesday, also called miércoles, Mercury's day, right? At 6 a.m., who would be the ruler? Mercury, right. So that would be a time to construct a Mercury talisman. 6 a.m. from 6 to 7. When you go to, once you hit 7 on Wednesday, though, you're in the moon again because it's following that consistency. You guys can write this. You want to write it down when the time goes. It's basically, so it starts sun. The sun starts first, then Venus, because Venus is known as the evening star or the rising star. It's the brightest star out of all. So Venus goes second. Then you have Mercury. And then you have the moon. Then you have Saturn. Then you have Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter and Mars. It ends with Mars. Okay? It starts at 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the order. That is the order. Now, that's for Sunday's order. For for Monday's order, we start with the moon and we count downwards. Get it? Mm-hmm. And then Tuesday, you start at Mars. Martes, the day of Mars. So all of our days were constructed out of planets. This we know. And so you would start your count here. Your 6 a.m. would start Mars and then count again. So that's how seals are constructed. Remember we talked about spirits and the 72 names of God reconstructed from the book of Exodus. By the way, Exodus, if you're not familiar with it, Moses stands by the reeds and he gives an order to part the waters, right? The fire was protecting the Israelites from the Egyptian army, killing the Israelites, if you guys are not familiar with the story. So the pillar of fire is the first world. His action causes him to use the second world, parting the water, the second world. Then, as the water moves, air travels between it, the third world. And finally, they do what? They move through the water, showing their action. So that story, it's very symbolic. That story shows you the code of the 72 names of God. Now, utilizing that cute little picture I gave you with the roses. Did you get it? Did you get it? It has like a 22-petaled rose. Utilizing the Hebrew alphabet, you would trace a line on the name, spelling out what's called the planetary sigil, or the planetary intelligence, or the angel here. So if you wanted to create the sigil of Michael, you would use that rose, and you would trace on it, and it'll give you the angelic signature. You place that signature, wham, on the seal. Those 44 seals, the original ones from the Greater Key of Solomon, the ones that are sold, not all 44 are sold, believe it or not. And I know for the most part there are around 18 you can get available in stores. I think Flow Life has about 18 of them. And the 18 that they carry here, or a lot of stores carry, they're going to have a sacred name of God, a divine name of God. That's why they're so protective. Not to say one that you would craft in your house wouldn't be protective. It would be, but these have God's divine names on them. That's why. Something else you can use for the seal. The angelic or celestial language. This was created by stars, star groups. So this is the Hebrew alphabet all over again, but simplified, using star points. This is called a celestial script. You can draw this to also write the angel's name. So just going down the tree of life a little bit, you guys, so you have 7 major archangels right here. So Keter is called the throne of God. Okay, the angels that live here are called the Hayot Hagodesh, the angels the 4 sacred beasts from Enoch, Ezekiel, and Elijah's visions. Right, the chariot that came made them into angels, angelic status. So those 4 sacred beasts live here. This is an order of angels. The archangel who governs it is Metatron. Here you have Chokmah. This is where God's consolations begin. The angel who is here, it's Raziel. Angel Raziel. Metatron, the name was revealed later on in the book of Enoch, which again was from the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha has a lot of books that were removed from the Bible. You guys you have an understanding of it. That's why you've been seeking outside of the confinements of organized religion, because you sensed something different. You were like, wait a second, I wasn't being told everything here. There's some secrets being kept from me. So that's why you're here today. So sacred books. There's a book of Raziel, the angel, which was given to Adam to name all of the animals in the Garden of Eden. And this book was lost. Rediscovered later on. The Rabbanim kept the books. But of course they didn't place all of them out for the public. So Metatron was mentioned in that.